Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to 15-Minute Finance. Today we're going to be talking about Planet 13, which is basically the only stock that we've been talking about here recently, but they had some huge news this week, so I definitely want to cover that. So honestly, probably some of the biggest news coming out of this stock in the last almost a year, and basically since the Santa Ana dispensary was announced, is that Planet 13 was actually awarded a dispensary license in Chicago, which is incredible in my opinion. And today we're going to go into why I think it's such a good move and why I think that this is a huge step for the company in the right direction. Planet 13 was one of several companies that won awards to be able to open dispensaries in Chicago. And this basically means that within the next, 6 to 12 months, Planet 13 is probably going to start to break ground on a location for a new superstore in Chicago. The company itself was, not surprisingly, extremely happy with this. The fact that it was a lottery system and Planet 13 won it is one thing, but another is that CEO Larry Schefter actually said that Chicago was one of the top markets that Planet 13 was actually going after and looking into for opening a new dispensary, and it's not really hard to see why they would be so interested in the Chicago market. So Planet 13 will own 49% of the dispensary, while the other 51% will be owned by Frank Cohen. Now, I don't have a lot of details on why Frank Cohen was looped into this, but if anyone else does, please leave a comment below and kind of explain that. But regardless, I do think we'll get some more information on the terms of the deal and what it exactly means in the upcoming earnings call. So it's all well and good that they got Chicago and they're going to have a location in Chicago, but let's actually break down why it's such a good market for Planet 13 to be in. And the first is that it's the third largest city in the United States behind New York City and Los Angeles. And that population base just means that Planet 13 is going to have a huge amount of customers to draw from, and they're not going to be reliant on tourism like they kind of are in Las Vegas. And the Santa Ana location is based around Disney World, which is a tourist destination. So this is really the first market that they can be in and prove that they can be a store in a big market rather than a store in a tourist market. The population of Chicago is 2.7 million, and it has relatively decreased over the past 2 decades, and that's mainly due to violence, and just in general we're kind of seeing a move out of cities, especially recently with COVID, but it's still the third largest city and they still have 2.7 million people, so the decrease in the population shouldn't really scare anybody here. For a bit of comparison, Las Vegas has a population of 630,000 people, while Santa Ana only has a population of 330,000. Now, I know that those two markets are heavily reliant on tourism, and especially Las Vegas gets millions of tourists every year, but it still means that the base of customers themselves in the city that they're in is just exponentially bigger in this case, well, with Chicago. And I really think that that's going to turn into a money-making machine for Planet 13. And this is looking really far ahead, but as soon as we start seeing sales from the Chicago dispensary, I think we're going to see that this is really a proven business model where this superstore will work, and especially will work in places that aren't just a tourism draw. In terms of demographics, the average age is 34 years old in Chicago, and this is a great sign because it's on the younger side, and that's typically where you have people who are more willing to try the product. And especially as social norms begin to change, I think that using Planet 13's product is just more and more prevalent, especially in younger generations. So the fact that Chicago does have a relatively younger population base is only going to help out the fact that Planet 13 is opening there, and they're going to be able to draw in massive amounts of revenue and really be able to kind of work off of that younger consumer base. Additionally, the average income in Chicago is actually $90,000, which is pretty incredible, especially compared to the average income for the United States. The average household income for the United States is even less than that. It's somewhere around $60,000. So that means that Chicago is pretty affluent and that the people there are expecting a more upscale experience, and that is really the target demographic that Planet 13 is trying to go after, right? They're trying to create this Apple Store-like appeal in their dispensaries, and they're really providing an upscale experience, not just walking into some kind of beat up, run down dispensary where you go in and get out, where this is actually really supposed to be an experience. They spend millions of dollars on their displays, on their buildings. So the fact that this Chicago population base is also a little bit more affluent, is only playing into the hand of Planet 13. In terms of tourism, it is, like I said, not as big as Las Vegas in terms of tourism, but they still get over 120 million tourists per year, which is the state of Illinois. But Chicago is the biggest city in Illinois, and it's by a lot, right? The second largest city is Aurora, which is not even close to the amount of people that Chicago has. So whenever someone's traveling to Illinois, it typically means that they're traveling to Chicago. So that 120 million people per year are typically going to Chicago. And an even better thing is that the level of tourism, the numbers of people who have been going to Chicago every year for tourism has been going up over the last 9 years. So that's just a great trend. Obviously, COVID affected that the last 2 years. So not taking that into account, 9 years of growth in your tourism base and your tourism draw is just going to help out Planet 13 with an already big customer base of 2.7 million people. Tourists traveling to the state spent $43 billion, and that just means that Planet 13 is going to be able to just take a little tiny sliver of that, even if they can. That's a huge amount of profit, a huge amount of revenue that they're going to be able to capture. And Chicago itself has a ton of museums, parks, sports teams, the city tours, the river tours. They're huge in Chicago, so it's not like this city is a destination that people don't want to go to. It still is, and it still can hold its own against other tourist destinations in other cities in the United States. So let's definitely not think that Chicago is some city that no one wants to go to. So on top of that base of 2.7 million people as their population, they also have some strong tourist attractions that will draw people there. And then, while they're there, let's go check out the Planet 13 dispensary. I hear it's brand new, it's huge, it's the biggest in the city. It's just another thing to add to the list of things to see while you're in Chicago. And finally, Chicago actually hosts the Lollapalooza Music Festival, which is a 4-day event that happens every single year. It draws in almost 500,000 people over that weekend. So that is just basically the exact target market that Planet 13 wants to go after. And just imagine people who stay and who go to Chicago for Lollapalooza, right? It's a music festival, so while they're there, they're definitely going to want to go check out the largest dispensary in the state and one of the largest dispensaries in the entire country. It just is another synergy that they have, and just another reason why Chicago is an incredible market for Planet 13 to get into. So my thoughts on it is obviously not too surprising. I absolutely love the fact that they are moving into Chicago as their next market. It just proves that this company is full steam ahead on expansion. They said in their investor presentations that they want to be in a third market in the upcoming year, and this is already approved for their third dispensary. So they're already on their way. This is an amazing city to get into. I love the fact that they're going to be able to prove themselves as a company that can perform not just in a tourist market, but in any market with a large population base. And I think that's going to be huge for the stock. And I think as soon as analysts start picking up on that, we're really going to see the stock price kind of shoot up. I definitely want to see what the terms and get a little bit more details on this Frank Cohen deal are. I really, to be truthful, don't understand it right now. So again, if anyone has any more insight into it, then please let me know, leave it in the comments below. But again, I love this move by Planet 13. I love Chicago as a city. It's a great city to go to, great city to visit. And now Planet 13 can be their premier dispensary where people are going to come and spend some money. And then you also have your 2.7 million population base. So again, just a huge win for Planet 13, and I think that this stock is just proving that it's full steam ahead and an awesome investment for the future. So thank you guys for tuning in to 15-Minute Finance. If you have a topic of a video that you want to hear about, let me know. Please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for some new videos.